Great. We'll get going, I think, given we just have the 30 minutes for our webinar today. So you're all very welcome to our Sustainable Energy Communities webinar on energy labels, using them to choose more energy efficient products. The webinar is going to be given by our SEAI market surveillance team, and I'll give those introductions now. So we have Elise Finadori and also David O'Keefe. So they're going to talk to you about energy labels for various different consumer products and how you can best use them. You're very welcome. My name is Kathleen Moore. I'm a program executive here on the Sustainable Energy Communities program. I'll be the host. And I suppose with that, I will take you through some housekeeping. So the event is being recorded, as you've probably seen already. As part of the settings as well, we have the attendees muted and your cameras are off. If you do want to ask a question, please, we would encourage that, and you can do it by clicking the Q&A icon at the bottom of the screen. That's the little question mark in a box icon, and typing in your question there. And we will endeavor to get to all questions either through that window, or we'll answer them verbally. We will distribute a recording after the event, probably in the next week or so, and any questions that are asked will also be included in that. So you can look forward to that. If we don't manage to answer a question, we'll also populate it for that future send. Okay, with that, I will hand you over to Elise, and Elise is going to take you through the first portion of the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. And yeah, just before going into more in depth on what's actually in the label and the information you're being presented and you can use to buy more energy efficient products, I'll just give you a bit of background information on the label itself. So energy labels were introduced at European level in the 1990s to provide consumers with information regarding energy efficiency of products. Labels can be used to make informed choices, and it can help you compare the energy efficiency of different products. It's a tool that you can use even if you don't know the technical details of the products. Just to mention as well, these labels are regulated at European level. All information that's on the label is verified, and that's our job as the Market Surveillance Authority as well, to make sure the information that's on there is correct, so you can use them when you make your purchase. And the labels are the same all across the European Union, so if tomorrow you go to Spain, if you go to a store there, look for a fridge or a washing machine, you will be presented with the same labels. The third point I'd like to make is that choosing energy efficient product is important for two main reasons. The first thing is that energy efficient products use less energy, therefore they allow them to lower your energy bill. It's good for your pocket, and it's also good for the environment. Energy efficient products have a lower carbon footprint, so this is an important point as well. Now looking at the different products that are covered by the energy label. As you can see from this list, it's quite a wide range of products across different product types. First, and you must have seen this when you go into stores, there are energy labels on most appliances, laundry-related appliances, washing machine, washer dryer, and tumble dryers, but also products that you would find in your kitchen, such as fridge freezers, dishwashers, oven, and range hoods. IT and lighting products also have, for some of them, an energy label. That's the case for TVs and computer monitors. And also light sources, so light bulbs, for which you'll find the energy label usually on the packaging of the product. Also, something that's worth to note is that from June 2025, phones and tablets will also be displaying an energy label that you can use when you're choosing your products, either in stores or online. Other types of products, such as heating and building services products, also bear an energy label, such as heat pumps, boilers, solid fuel stoves, local space heaters, water heaters, including electric showers, and air conditioners and comfort fan. The last category of product that have a label are tires, and my colleague Dave will go a bit more in depth into it in a few minutes for this product category. in the meantime, just talking about the different label formats that you can see when you walk into a store or if you're browsing for products online. As you can see, there are two different styles of label. However, important to note that these labels contain the same information. On the left-hand side, you have the old style label, which has a blue border. On these labels, the range of energy classes that you can see goes to A+++ in some instances, to D. Here you can see for an oven products what it looks like. Other types of product that have this old style blue border label are heat pumps, solid fuel stove, and also electric showers. For other products such as dishwashers, washing machines, refrigeration products, you will see the label format that's on the right-hand side here, which is the rescaled label. These labels don't have a blue border. They have a QR code at the top right, as you can see, and also the range of energy classes goes from A to G. But except this difference of range and kind of visual format, as I mentioned previously, the information that's on the label is the same, and you can use them in the same way. So now I'll go in a bit more detail on the different things that are on the label and how you can use them. The first thing you see, which is the most visible, is the colorful scale of energy classes. This allows you to compare similar products, going from the most energy efficient as an A to the least energy efficient as a G. When you look at two products that have kind of the same size or the same characteristics, you can use these scales to know which one is more energy efficient. Here, for example, you have a fridge freezer that is a G. If you see another fridge freezer that is a C or a D class, then you know it is more energy efficient. The second part of the label that I want to highlight is that median part here that gives you the energy consumption of the product. For this fridge freezer, for example, you can see the product uses 525 kilowatt per year. This is kind of taking into account the standard use of the product. And finally, at the bottom of the label, you have more of the technical characteristic of the product. Here for fridge freezers, you have the freezer capacity on the left, which is 101 liter, the fridge capacity on the right, 230 liter, and at the bottom you have the noise level and noise class. So you can see under standard use, this product has a noise level of 45 decibel and a class, which is a class D, so it's quite a noisy fridge. These kind of pictograms at the bottom change depending on the type of products. So if you buy a dishwasher, for example, you'll have the capacity of the dishwasher and other information that is related to that specific product. Now, we're going to focus on the energy consumption, so that kilowatt hour data that's there at the middle of the label, and just talk about how you can use this data to calculate the running cost, and so how much money you're going to spend on electricity for this product to run. To calculate the product running cost, you can multiply the given kilowatt hour by the cost of your electricity. Depends on your contract, etc., but currently it's about 35 cents per kilowatt hour. On this slide, you can see two examples of fridges. So you have fridge freezer 1, which is 500 euro, and which consumes 319 kilowatt hour per annum, and fridge freezer 2, which costs 800 euro, but consumes 163 kilowatt hour per annum. When we look at calculating the running cost for these two products, I'll start with fridge freezer 1. We're looking at calculating the running cost across 10 years. Your product should last longer than this, but just for the purpose of this exercise, we've chosen a length of 10 years to compare these products. So you can see for fridge freezer 1, you can use 319 kilowatt hour and multiply it by the cost of your electricity, 0.35, and then we multiply this by 10 because we're looking at a 10-year period. The running cost of this product, fridge freezer 1, equals 1,116 euro. If you add this to the purchase price, you have a total cost of ownership across 10 years of 1,616 euro. Doing the same calculation for fridge freezer 2, you can see that purchase price is 800 euro. Running cost for 10 years is 163 multiplied by the price of electricity at 35 cents, multiplied by 10 because we're looking at a period at 10 years, and that's 570 euro. When you add up the purchase price and the running cost, your total cost of ownership is at 1,370 euro. What I want to highlight with these examples is that fridge freezer 2 might be more expensive to buy. However, when you look at the total cost of ownership, including the electricity spends that you will have to pay for this fridge to run over the 10 years, fridge freezer 2 is actually less expensive when you look at that total cost of ownership. So that's one of the main points is when you have selected a product and you have a set budget, look at the product that's the most energy efficient. And on this, just kind of a summary of some tips and things to think about before you purchase a product to make sure you purchase the best product possible. The first thing, of course, you want to look at the right size and the right specs of the product, choosing a product that fits your needs, then setting your budget and deciding how much you are willing to spend upfront. We would encourage you to use the energy label. So look for a product that's had the highest energy efficiency class that you can afford within that budget. And the fourth point, which takes what we've been explaining on the last slide, is to think about lifetime cost. Don't just consider the purchase price, but factoring the running cost too, because it can have a big impact during the lifespan of the product. We've looked at the label as a tool to help you kind of choose products when you're looking to buy your products. But just to mention as well that the products that are already in your home and that even if you're not maybe thinking of replacing them anytime soon, consume also quite a lot of energy. Here on this slide, you can see the top 5 of appliances that use the most energy in your house. So home heating, water heating, including also electric showers, tumble dryer, and the oven. As you can see, they're all products that are related to heating. That's one of the product use that uses the most energy. So that's something to be mindful of. And for that, we have kind of listed some tips for appliance efficiency and how to use and maintain your product to ensure they consume the least amount of energy possible and they last the longest. So during the use phase, we would suggest you use your product only with a full load. That's applicable to washing machine, dishwashers, etc. Choosing the eco cycle or the lowest temperature possible also limits the amount of electricity and so the costs of running a product. For products such as freezers, fridge freezers, and also ovens, we would suggest limiting door opening. That's because it then takes quite a lot of time and electricity for the product to go back at the temperature than it was before the door was open. Another tip I want to mention today is the existence of a delay function on a lot of products such as dishwashers or washing machine. You can use that delay function and have your products run during the night, for example, if the electricity is cheaper than for you. When it comes to maintenance, it's important to have regular checks and cleaning of your products, such as defrosting your freezer, cleaning the filter of your dishwasher, your washing machine, etc. This will ensure the product works at the best of its capacity and also that it lasts longer. Finally, if you have a product that's broken or parts are missing or parts are broken themselves, we would invite you to check spare parts and repair services before choosing to replace your product. Manufacturers of product have the obligation to provide spare parts and provide information on the repair of the products as well. Everything should be on their website, so it is easily accessible. Just using the product reference that you have, you should be able to find the information on the manufacturer's website. And if the product cannot be repaired by yourself or with spare parts that you buy separately, you can also take advantage of professional repair services that are offered by the manufacturer. So that's all for me on tips on appliance efficiency and use. If you have any questions on the label itself or kind of other tips and tricks for appliance efficiency, feel free to put them in the Q&A section and we'll address them at the end of this presentation. Now my colleague Dave will take the floor and talk about tyre labeling.
Yeah, thanks a million. So tire labeling, so very similar to the labeling on appliances and all the other categories we discussed previously. It's not new. It was introduced in 2012, and it contains some important information about the performance of the tire. So the specific areas that we really look at, and which would be the most important to Irish motorists, are the rolling resistance or fuel efficiency on the left, the wet grip or the performance of the tire under wet braking on the right hand side, and then the bottom left hand corner we have external rolling noise. So I'll go through these categories in a little more detail in a few minutes. So it's really important when considering making a tire purchase that we put some research or put some thought into what is the best performing tire. So our experience of the tire purchase experience would be that, you know, people will go to the local garage and they will look for a tire and they will base their purchase on the budget, you know, and that really dictates the criteria of the tire that they're going to get. So we want to move people away from that to an informed purchase where they actually do the research like you would with some, you know, appliances that we previously discussed, and you don't just walk in and make the purchase on the day. The reason why this is important is tires consume between 20 and 30% of a vehicle's overall energy consumption. So if you can imagine, for every litre of fuel that you pay for, you know, 20 or 30% is directly attributable to tires. And we see in electric vehicles, which are even much more energy efficient, that this can be even higher percentage on related to tire consumption. So what we tend to promote is that people would purchase, you know, or look to get it close to an A or a B rated in each of the categories for fuel efficiency, wet grip, brake, and the noise, external road noise. So looking at the tire label in a bit more detail, so there's quite a lot of information contained there. So at the top, there's some information about the tire manufacturer and the tire size, etc. There's also a QR code which you can scan, which will bring you to a European database, which will give you more information on the tire. But looking on the left-hand side, if we look at rolling resistance specifically, or fuel efficiency, so it's graded from A to E. So generally what we would see is a lot of new vehicles, when you would purchase them, would generally have an A or a B rated tire, and that plays a part in tying into the overall fuel consumption or energy performance of the vehicle. So in the aftermarket, it's very easy then to drop down the scales, and more often than not, people do that unknowingly because they're just not aware. You know, they, for all they know, they've bought the best possible tire for the vehicle for their budget, but they haven't factored in this type of information into their purchase. So when we look at the different ranges from A to E, so generally what we say an A to a B, or to drop any category down, is usually 0.1 of a litre of fuel for every 100 kilometers traveled. So if we take, say, the best case scenario, which is in A, and the worst case, which is in E, so generally speaking, that would be about 0.4 of a litre of extra consumption over 100 kilometers. So if we take the average sort of fill, which is based on about, you know, 1,000 litres range, you're looking at approximately, you know, 4 litres. And when you factor in other things like underinflation, you're up to maybe 5 litres of fuel. So that could be directly attributed to, you know, making a poor tire selection choice in the aftermarket. Now, on a safety aspect, there's also important information here where we look at the wet grip on the right hand side. So again, it's the A to E scale, and generally speaking, each drop in category represents 3 to 6 meters of extra stopping distance in the wet. So again, if I take the best case, which is the A, and the worst case, which is the E, like that could be about 18 meters of extra stopping distance. So I mean, you know, we would all want the best performing tire on our vehicle if we ever needed them in an emergency braking situation. So again, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to spend extra money to get the best performing, but you just need to be aware and again make that informed choice. So bottom left hand corner, we have the noise, which is the external road noise from the tire, recorded at a speed of 80 kilometers an hour. So obviously that impacts the environment in which the car is traveling in, but it also has an impact on the internal road noise inside the cabin of the vehicle. And you know, we see with electric vehicles, obviously there's no engine noise to block out tires. So again, the tire noise now is more or less the overriding noise that you would hear in the cabin. So again, it's important to try and get the best performing tire noise on this category, which is rated from A, B, and a C. The last two categories on a tyre label is usage in snow conditions and usage in ice. Now, we don't have a lot of tyres on the market here that are formatted for this purpose. It would be more prominent on continental Europe, but you will see some tyres there with those parameters also. So what I would just say on tyres is, so you make your purchase, but the life of the tyre is really how well you look after that tyre once it's on the vehicle. So what I would say is, tyres are not sealed units. They're continuously losing air pressure. So once a month, your tyre is losing about 1 psi, which is roughly 3% of its overall capacity. So, if you don't check your tyres for maybe 3 months, which is probably quite normal for people, you've lost about 10% of your tire inflation there. And tire inflation also impacts your wear. So if you can see in the top left hand graphic, so that's a normal inflation, and the middle graphic is under inflation. So you can see the way the tire wears unevenly. And on the right hand side, we have overinflation. So again, that would cause the tire to wear out down the middle. So you would often hear of tires wearing out in different aspects, but it's generally down to inappropriate tire inflation. So 10% underinflation can increase wear by 10%, and so on and so forth. So really, if you want to extend the life of that tire and improve performance and efficiency, really you'd want to be checking it every 4 to 6 weeks. And what we have found from research is approximately 60% of people's tires are underinflated. So aside from the energy side of things, you've compromising your braking, your emergency braking. As you can see from the two graphics on the right, your tire isn't fully in contact with the road surface. So obviously that will impact how quick the car can come to a halt. And 4% of energy consumption is due to underinflation. So, I mean, that's sort of an average figure, but I mean, the longer you leave your tire pressures to be checked, the worse that figure will be. So it's really important just to get that regime in place where you're checking your tire pressures probably every 4 to 6 weeks, ideally. So we have a little guide here on our website, so you can scan the QR code, and basically it's a summary of really what I've said, and maybe a little bit more detail there, just of how to choose that tire appropriately when you go to purchase, and some tips there on how to get the best performance out of the tire. And what I will say is, retailers are obliged to give you this information, so don't be afraid to ask for it, but have your research done before you go in. You can check your handbook, check online, check with the dealer to see what tire was on it when it was bought from you. Finally, what I just draw your attention to is just something else that you can use to help your purchases on a general basis. So it's EU Eco Design Standards, and they're there to improve the environmental performance of energy-related products. And they're things we look at as a market surveillance, where we look at the energy efficiency, the durability, and the repairability of products. And it's really important just to emphasize the point about, that you have the right to repair, and the right to availability of spare parts being held for up to 10 years also. So, that will obviously extend the life of your products in the home, which is obviously a benefit to the environment. Thanks.
Thanks very much, David and Elise. That was very interesting for me anyway. We're going to take a couple of questions. So we have one here. I guess this might be more for Elise. And the question is manufacturer built-in obsolescence considered when it comes to the energy rating of a product, considering products are designed to fail after a certain number of hours operation? This is an important consideration as it has a resultant early waste aspect. Well, thanks for that question.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So at the moment, product lifespan is not a characteristic that's currently taken into account within eco-design or energy labeling for most of the products. However, there are more recent regulations, such as the eco-design energy labeling regulation for phones and tablets, which will be applied from 2025, and also future regulations which will be adopted under the new ESPR framework. These regulations, they will be, or they are already, durability aspects, which are included in the lists of requirements. And some information on durability and reliability of products will be included in the energy label for phones and tablets, for example.
That's really good. Thanks for that. That's a big topic, isn't it, in relation to products, particularly technology ones. And just a question for myself, maybe for you, Elise, because I have this problem at home. Eco cycles on washing machines and dishwashers. How can I trust that that is an eco cycle? My one of my washing machine is really long. It's a really long cycle. How do I know that it is actually an eco cycle?
Of course, yeah, these cycles, everything is regulated under eco design. And these cycles consume actually less energy than the regular cycle on your machine. They might be longer, but the temperature would be lower. And all in all, the energy that's spent for an eco cycle is less than for a regular cycle. So yeah, we would suggest always using eco cycles or cycles that are at a lower temperature to save energy and have lower energy bills as well.
Great. That's encouraging. We have another question here. Who should I consult with if the label is not present on the product in store? I don't know if that's relating to appliances or tires or.
Yeah, I can answer for on the appliance side anyway. That's a very good question. If you go into a store, or even if you're browsing online and you don't see a product, each product that were in the list that I presented at the start of my presentation should display an energy label. And it's important that the label is there so that consumers have as much information as they need to make their purchase decision and take into account energy efficiency within that purchase decision. If you see a product that doesn't have a label, I would invite you to talk to the floor staff in that electrical retailer. They should have information about the energy efficiency of the product, and they should give you a copy of the label that goes with this product. And yeah, also maybe a suggestion to talk to floor staff, even if the label is there. If you need more information on what's on the label, they should be able to help you.
I would just add on the tires, the buying experience on a tire isn't that we go and look at tires and we can see them physically in the shop. So it's a totally different experience. So if I put that in reverse, I think, you know, if you agree to potentially getting a tire fitted to the vehicle, I would ask to, you know, be physically brought out to me. Then you have the chance to check the label. And if at that point you're not happy with the ratings, i.e. they're not an A or a B rated in the various categories, then I would ask the retailer, could they suggest an alternative at that point?
Yeah, that's helpful because usually I don't think I've ever seen or been brought out a tire actually for my car. So that's good to think about what might happen and then have your response ready in those situations. That's great. I don't think we have any more questions. So I think we're all done, basically. So I'd like to thank everybody for coming on to our last Sustainable Energy Communities webinar of 2024. And thanks to the team in the Market Surveillance Authority, Elise and David. Thanks very much for all the tips and insights on energy labels. And we'll see you all in 2025 and happy Christmas.